The defendant has the option of life imprisonment or 50 years in the penitentiary. Which one does he pick? I'm also attorney James Wirth, and that is the question that we have, and it's actually from a real-life case recently decided by the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals. Aaron Struble v. State of Oklahoma, F-2021-1220. And in that case, the defendant was convicted, and the jury recommended punishment at 50 years. But the judge found that because the range of punishment went up to life, that 50 years exceeded life, because for the purposes of determining parole, the Department of Correction views a life sentence as 45-year sentence and 50 is more than 45. So the judge goes ahead and sentences the person to life imprisonment, and then the defendant has to decide, am I going to appeal that ruling? A life sentence is going to be treated as 45 years for the purposes of parole. A 50-year sentence is going to be treated as 50-year sentence for the purposes of parole. What does he decide? He decides to appeal it. And he requests that he get the 50-year sentence instead of the life imprisonment sentence, because that is what was recommended by the jury, and that it was improper for the judge to change it from life in prison to 50 years. So which one is preferable under these circumstances? Well, like I said, for the purposes of determining parole, life is considered to be 45 years. So that would generally be thought to be better for the defendant, because he would be eligible for parole after a quicker period of time. However, with the 50-year sentence, assuming all the paroles are denied, he's going to get out more quickly on a 50-year sentence than on a life sentence. But it's just an interesting case that comes up because the way a life sentence is defined in the state of Oklahoma and is assigned as only 45 years, where a jury could recommend, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, and it's going to be treated much more harshly than if they had recommended a life sentence. And what's unusual here is the judge actually thought that he was limited to 45 years based on that DOC definition of what life is, when that is not the case. And then ultimately, the defendant requested the 50 years instead of the life, even though that means he's going to be eligible for parole later in time than the life sentence. But if his paroles are denied, he'd get out more quickly that way. So it's a complicated, interesting issue delved into in this case. If you're dealing with any criminal case in the state of Oklahoma with some interesting issues, you've got questions on how to proceed, you're going to want to talk to an attorney about that privately and confidentially. To get that scheduled with an attorney at my office, you go online to makelaweasy.com.